can't hear.
There we go. Peace, peace.
Peace.
Yeah, yeah. Yo, Black is time. Shout out to the chat. Peace, Queen.
Peace. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. A little tired, still recovering from this past weekend, but definitely was a great event. Shout out to everybody who came out to the home opener. Shout out to Sim, of course, for putting the event together. Shout out to Josh, meeting Josh for the first time. Um, who else was out there? Jarrell. I met him before, but shout out to Jarrell. Cornerstone Kev, we met him. Uh, yeah, man, it was a great event, great turnout. I mean, we could start with that, man. How'd you like the event? Obviously, the Knicks got to win, so that's great.
That's always good. It
Yeah,
was good. It's always good to get together with the Nick family. Shout out to Sim for the event he, put together. And just, to meet the podcast family and then some new people. Josh for the first time, Hartwell in
Hartwell.
person. Yeah, Hartwell in person. And then, a big thrill for me is to just meet those that's in the chat all the time. You just see their names and then you get a chance to meet them in person. So that's always good.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, man, I had a good time. Who else? Evergreen came out with the flag as always, representing. Dio was out there with his wife. Shout out to them.
Yep.
You know, can't name everybody. We definitely forgetting names, but
Sure.
shout out to everybody who came out.
Shop
Uh,
Howells from Nick's Real Talk.
that's right.
Appreciate
That's
him as
right. Eru. Uh,
well. Gmo,
everybody who
everybody.
Gmo for sure.
Yeah.
Isaiah. You,
Isaiah.
you know, but yeah, great time, great time. I'm still excited about it. I'm looking forward to the next one, and we'll make the announcements and let everybody know so y'all can make it out there too, because you gotta come out at least for one time and experience it,
For
because
sure.
it's
Not
great
like
and it gets bigger every time.
and the vibes are crazy.
Yes, and shout out to my mom and shout out to Tony who came out with me. So shout out to them. But yeah, let's get started. See, I got a new overlay. I'm working on it. It'll get better, but first time making my overlay. Player of the week. That's what we're gonna do today. Me and Queen have two different players of the week, so that made it pretty cool. To I made some slides up, but yeah, let's get into it. I'm gonna let you lead off with your player of the week. Two games, Memphis and Detroit. But
Yeah.
yeah, floor is yours.
Yeah.
Floor is yours.
My play of the week is Julius Randle. And not just because he's leading us in scoring. He was the one that I had concerns about coming into the season. Just because he was the one that needed to make the biggest adjustment, right? Going from playing on the ball, being the main facilitator of the offense, to now Brunson coming in and him being a secondary and maybe even a tertiary because we weren't sure what RJ's role was going to be coming into the season. Could he do it? Can he play off the ball? Would he be willing to play off the ball? Like there was a lot of questions, coming into the season. In the preseason, he looked okay. It was one game where I was like, I don't know if he's gonna be able to do this. But the first two games, he's looked good. And what I like most about it is one, he's playing off the ball and he's able to do it. When the three is falling, it looks better. But even when the three is not falling, he's still moving the ball. He's not hogging it. He's just one part of the offense. But what I'm really impressed with is that there are times when he is facilitating the offense. Maybe, maybe Brunson is out of the game, like when the game he got into foul trouble. Maybe Brunson is just not bringing the ball up the court that time, you know. And now Randall is facilitating, and you know what? I don't really mind because he's moving the ball, he's making the right decisions, and he's making quick, decisive decisions with the ball. So I'm really impressed with Randall right now. And look, he's averaging almost 20 points a game on less shots because he's more efficient. And the Knicks don't appear to be featuring anybody. Not Randall, not Brunson, not RJ. It's just whoever gets it in the flow of the game. If you hit your shots that night, you're gonna be the leading scorer. That's
Y-
just how it is.
Yeah, and it's what Tibbs has been preaching. Letting the game dictate, you know, what to do. And when you do that, there's no telling who is going to be the leading scorer any given night, who's going to be the leading facilitator any given night,
Yep.
because it's going to change based off of your opponent, based off of how they're playing. But yeah, I could have went with Randall as well. You know what I mean? Like, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed with him, and I said it before, is his attitude. He seems happy. He's smiling all the time. Or that makes a world of difference. You know what I mean? When you can see how someone's feeling by their mannerisms and how they're acting, you know what I mean? If you can see it, you better believe it's affecting their daily routine and what they're doing day in and day out. And right now he seems happy. And I think that's super important.
No doubt.
I got a slide up for game one against Memphis, 35 minutes, 24 points, 6 for 9 from the field, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. Um, Very good game. The shooting percentage, I think he was well, like I said, 9 for 16. That's well over 50%.
Mhm.
I think he's at 50% for the two games combined, which is you know, I don't expect it to stay that high, but if he could keep it around there, that's great. That's what we're looking for. That's a step in the right direction from last year. The second game, 35 minutes, uh, 25 points, 5 for 12, 6 rebounds, no assists that game. But
Mhm.
like I said, that's 19.5 points in the two games, 8.5 rebounds, 3 assists, 30 minutes. So minutes is down, the efficiency's up.
Right.
I think that's important. That's important. Moving forward. Oh, my bad, Queen.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning. But nah, I think
Yeah.
that's a step in the right direction
Yeah.
for
No doubt.
sure.
No doubt about it.
Um, I mean, anything you want to add about Randall, about game two, maybe, or just
Um,
anything?
game
Do you
two.
think you could keep it up? Do you think he could keep it up?
That's what it is for the entire team. I think from just being a content creator, and maybe even a fan too, I'm like trying not to get too high or too low on the team itself, on any particular player. So Randall looks good right now. Can he keep it up? I'm looking forward to, we play Orlando, who's 0-3. After that, I think it's Charlotte, Milwaukee. I want to say Philly, maybe Charlotte, Milwaukee, and another Cleveland. Pretty good team. And those three teams are playing well. So we'll get an opportunity to see how our team responds against some adversity, how our team responds against better teams. We responded very well against Memphis, right? So I'm encouraged, but we'll see. So, in other words, to your question, I hope so when it comes to Randall. We shall see this upcoming week.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to it. This is it's early, but I'm just as excited as I was before the season started, and I think it's gonna continue all year. This excitement. Shout out to Ashley. Was it Ashley INC1? I'm not a Randall fan, but he is Player of the Week. As a Tibbs hater, he is Nick of the Week, and then the Queen is Nick Fan Podcaster of the Week. For early morning podcast assessments. So there you go, Queen. You the podcaster of the week. We rocking with that. Uh, you heard it here first. And shout out to Ashley. Appreciate you for jumping in.
And for being up at 5 o'clock in the morning, right? That left coast, him and Soul Finger, and whoever else is on that left coast. When I get on that 8, it's 5 o'clock, and you guys be right in there rocking with me. So I appreciate it.
That's what's up. West Coast Knicks salute. Shot Powers. Oh man. So who I got? I got Jalen Brunson as my player of the week. Give me 1 second because I know this overlay is overlapping. So I'm try to work this out real quick. But Brunson, he started off what was, kind of slow to me, in my opinion. I he struggled in the first game early, and by the end of the game, I was pretty much surprised at the outcome.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Excuse me, that's the wrong game. Let me fix that. Boom. But yeah, 36 minutes, 15 points, 7 to 18 from the field, 6 rebounds, 9 assists, 0 turnovers.
Can't go wrong
And
with Brunson either. You can't go wrong with Brunson either.
and,
So
and, and I will tell you right off the back, the reason he won it for me is 2 games, 0 turnovers. You know
right,
what I mean?
right, right.
30, 35 points, 35 minutes a game. I want to say, let's see, game two, 17 points, right? So 17, 15, that's 32. He had 32 minutes between the game, 32 minutes per game, 32 points, no turnovers in both games. And if he's gonna continue to do that, that's already been part of his MO anyway.
Hmm.
Uh, low turnovers, good assist to turnover ratio.
Right.
6 assists in the second game, 9 assists in the first game, so 15 assists, 0 turnovers. That is phenomenal,
Yeah, it is.
you know. And just a floor general. Um, he hasn't had to take over or lead for an entire game. You know what I mean? Like, so he's picking his spots as well.
Right,
I don't think we've seen the best of him yet.
right.
He's figuring himself out, but
No doubt.
it shows right off the bat, the leadership and the change that he brings to this team. So I could not go with Brunson based off of that. And salute to you, Queen. You can't go wrong with Brunson. You know what I mean? Like it's not. I'm not mad at your Randall pick either because he was, he's on my list.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
you know, I think he's fitting in seamlessly, but we haven't seen the best of him either. Um, he didn't
Right.
have to make an adjustment. He's said it since the preseason. He just has to come in and be himself,
Right.
and we've seen that.
Right.
So yes, I think he's definitely my player of the week. I was gonna go deep and go with play of the week as well.
We
Um, but I didn't have time, and
did
like I
play of
said,
the week.
say it again.
Didn't we just do play of the week?
Play,
Play of the week.
actual play.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
but
Ooh,
you,
it
you
would
know,
have to
so
be a Hartenstein play for me.
okay. I mean, if you remember one, you can
I
go
mean,
ahead.
I think
But
the Hartenstein, the Obi to Hartenstein. Those two plays those two plays stick out to me. And I
okay,
forgot what game it was too.
okay. I mean, I was definitely gonna pull a cam play out of my out of my bag,
Of
and that
course.
was just the three to tie the game and, and,
Mhm.
and put it into overtime. Um, and part of
That was a good play act. That was a great play.
not, but it wasn't. It was more than just the play. It was like the what it represented in my
Correct.
opinion for him. You know what I
Correct.
mean? Like he
Correct.
got a Nick moment. I wish we would have pulled that win out, but even still, he has a Nick moment
Hmm.
that is cemented. You know what I mean? At least for me as a fan, and
Right.
yeah. So that was my play of the week. As I progress and start learning the how to really get into this computer stuff. I'll have the plays up, the individual plays up mine. I'll reach out to Queen. She'll give you hers, and you'll get to visualize them as well. So but yeah, that's where I'm at with that. And then we could maybe dibble and dabble into the upcoming game. Not
Mhm.
not go deep into it.
It's okay. Even if we go deep into it, because
Uh,
next game is going to be next. I mean, we're going to cover it on Queen's Court as well, but there'll be other panel members. So
Opinions.
you're going to get other different takes as well. So it's all good.
I mean, I feel confident. I'm not worried, but there is a little thing in the back of my mind, just knowing last year and knowing how they was the ones that kind of put a spoil to our early success. You know what I mean. Last year,
Right.
it is in the back of my mind. But that
Yeah.
being said, I feel like the Knicks should think of this as a revenge game. Yeah, it was last year, but I don't care. We're not letting that happen again. I hope they didn't forget it. The players that were here, and
Right.
let's make another statement. You know what I mean? Let's knock them out the water early. Their confidence shouldn't be that high. You know what I mean? I don't think they've won a game yet. So,
They're 0
um,
3.
okay,
But they played some, you
tight
know,
games,
they played
absolutely.
they played Boston, they played who else? They played Detroit the first game, but then they played Boston and they played somebody else. So they played some pretty good teams. Um, I was able to I was able to watch them play against, was it Boston? Whatever. Well, Banchero to start he's real. Randall is gonna have his hands full with him. He's a power forward. He can score on all three levels. And so I think Randall is a pretty good on the ball defender when he's locked in, and he's going to need to be locked in. So let's just see. You know, this is a game in which he's going to need to play both sides of the court, both sides of the floor. So let's see how that goes. Listen, this is a confident team. They're 0-3, but I'm sure they're coming in and saying we're right there. We were right there with these other teams, um, other than Detroit. So don't think that they're coming in intimidated by the Knicks. And it's at the Garden. Cole Anthony is starting.
Mm.
He always plays us well. He always put it on us. Put it that way. You know. So that's going to be interesting to see him and Brunson go at it.
I actually really, really like that matchup. Since we Nick picking, you know what I mean. I'm gonna pick. Shout out to Evergreen. I seen you laugh at it. That's my new segment, Nick picking, and we just gonna pick. We're gonna pick players of the games. Just pick some Nick content and discuss it. But I think that's my matchup of the night for sure. Um, like you said, Cole has had good games at the Garden, good games against us, but he hasn't played against a guy like Brunson on this, with the Knicks point guards.
Hmm.
And I think this is going to be a nice test for Cole Anthony, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because Brunson, I think he's just solid and he's going to play his game no matter what and be himself no matter what. But this is going to be like a good game for Cole to be tested. So yeah, That's gonna be my matchup of the night. We'll get further into that. Let's stick with what we've seen so far, what we think can stick moving forward,
Hmm.
and I mean we picked the player. I mean I do want to say this. I know I'm all over the place.
Take your time. It's all
Grimes being out again
right. Hmm.
is concerning. Like the more time he misses, the more concerned I am becoming. Um, but my question to you is: the more time he misses, do you think he has to work his way back into the rotation?
Yeah, I agree. I think so. And part of that is because of Cam, and I think that's another reason why he can take his time. If he, by Cam, I mean Grimes, I mean. And it's because Cam has been playing relatively well. Now the second game wasn't as great as the first game, but it was okay. So yeah, I think Grimes could take his time, and when he does come back, you like to think he needs to work his way in, but it's gonna really depend on how much Tibbs trusts him.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can talk about the stats and how he looks and all of that. Does Tibbs trust him? That's what it's gonna come down to. And I think he is earning his trust.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah. Shout out to Cam too. I mean, I read in the post earlier how Tibbs basically said Cam has been showing good things in practice,
Mm-hmm.
and it's now showing up on the court.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of questioned it earlier of, or at least to me, it stood out. Cam getting a true opportunity going back to preseason,
Mm-hmm.
into these first two games. Even that first game, he ended up with a standout game
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But there were moments in that game where I was sure Tibbs was about to pull him, just based off of Tibbs being Tibbs and the history between the two. And he wrote with him like he would an IQ through
Mm-hmm.
mistakes, and that stuff was telling to me. So it makes sense that Tibbs comes out and says he was seeing these things in practice, which made him trust him enough to show it on,
Mm-hmm.
or give him the opportunity to show it on the court. And Tibbs, he says the same things, but I feel like now year three, it's really starting to manifest. You know what I mean? You can kind of see what he preaches and the value of it in the game, on the floor, with the rotations, all of that. Like the longer he's here, I thought it might be. I was worried that the longer he was here, the more people would get tired of him.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there are some out there that are and still
Oh,
want him,
they are.
still want him gone. But for me, it's the opposite. Like he's really changing the culture here.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And I think these young guys and the vets, they respect him. They respect him for who he is. They buy in. They trust what he says, and that goes a long way for the culture.
But you know what? I think it's just us, the fans, who's late to the party.
Mm,
I think Tibbs has been the same way since he got here. I think that the players who play for him, they know who he is, and I'm sure they'll tell you there hasn't been much change. And with the fans, Tibbs is okay when we're winning, and he's not okay when we're losing. That's it. I mean, people are not on Tibbs now because we're 1-1 and we look good. We lost to Memphis in overtime. We
mm-hmm.
go on a 3-game losing streak, it's gonna turn. That's just how we are as fans, you know. And I say we just put all of us in there together because we in there together.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
Anything else stand out in those first two games?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first game, what stood out was RJ not playing well, given how he played in the preseason. Um, just not on it as far as free throws. Excuse me, not free throws. As far as his 3-point shot, just his shooting period, and then him bouncing back. Then the next game, finishing at the rim, the free throw percentage. Um, one of the things I'm noticing is that he's had to put the ball on the floor. Like they're really closing out on him on those catch and shoot threes. Like he's not wide open.
Mm-hmm.
So either he's going to have to put it up with a hand in his face, a contested catch and shoot, or he's going to have to put the ball on the floor. And him putting the ball on the floor, um, I don't know what the actual stats are, but it hasn't been great. Him putting the ball on the floor, and hopefully, I know he's been working on that over the summer. So let's see how that goes.
No doubt. Give me 1 second as I just wanted to open up the panel in a little bit,
Hmm.
and just get some of you guys, if you guys want to jump in the panel and just give me your player of the week. I definitely would love to hear your input. So go ahead and throw that link up in the chat. Anybody that want to come in, you're more than free. Or just keep it brief. We just want to get your player of the week right now. And but yeah, come on in
Yeah,
if you
and
want.
why? And why?
And why? Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Um what was I gonna say? Something that stood out. Well, I gotta go with Hartenstein, honestly. Um I felt like
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
I
Yes.
felt like I knew it his value was going to be to this team, given it was something that we haven't had or seen, and definitely in the near past. And it just brings a different dynamic. But
Hmm.
he's out there, and honestly, I think the longer he's here, the more time he's with Tibbs, I think the more we're gonna see from him. A lot of his stuff is energy more than skill, but you know what I mean. There's skill mixed in there. Like he's not elite at anything, but he's pretty solid at a lot of stuff, rebounding included. I think he had 8 in the first game, like a quiet 8.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now granted that was 40 minutes, so you say what you will about that, but still a quiet 8. Those backdoor passes, it's a dynamic that we haven't seen. It's motivating the rest of the team to move around and keep that ball movement going. So a lot of things going on right now. Sorry, I gotta plug up.
He's leading the team in defense. Excuse me, and rebounding at 9.5.
Mm, yeah, look at that, leading the team off the bench. Um,
Mhm.
and then speaking of that center position, you have any concern with Mitch right now? I
No,
mean,
no, no, no.
uh,
I don't
oh,
have any concerns with Mitch. I think, you know, for the Knicks, I think one of the things we may have to start doing is, instead of talking about Hartenstein's numbers and Mitch numbers, kind of putting them together. Like, what are we getting? How many points are we getting from that center position for that game? How many rebounds are we getting from that position for the game? Because it seems like they're splitting minutes. Um, there's some significant overlap between the two, in terms of rebounding. Well, in terms of rebounding, I wouldn't say significant overlap, but they both do something very different, and then there's a little bit of overlap,
mm-hmm,
right? So in terms of defense, especially out on the perimeter, blocking shots, altering shots, that's Mitch all day. Offensive rebounds with the putback, you know. But Hartenstein is not a slouch on that offensive rebounds as well. Against Adams, the Memphis game, 7 of his 8 rebounds were offensive. He just doesn't finish as well as Mitch when he gets the offensive rebound, right? But in terms of getting a second chances, he's
mm-hmm.
he's he's good as well. He's not as good as shot blocker as Mitch, but he can block shots. But what he gives us offensively, it just changes everything for us.
Yeah,
It just changes everything for us. So to have that difference between the two, where Tibbs can choose, what do I need right now?
yeah,
Between the two of them.
yeah. If I had to pick a standout player off the bench right now, it would be him, and that's given. You know, I can't give it to Cam so far. I can't give it to Quick so far. You know what I mean? Even though both of them had better individual games, game 1 for Cam, game 2 for Quickly, but the consistency of Hartenstein and the dynamic that he brings, and the continuous effort. You like that's one thing you never gonna get, or just from my observation, from what I've seen from him in the past, on the Clippers, and what I've seen so far, his effort is there throughout the game. You know what I mean? Even in a mistake, even in a foul, you know what I mean? It's always because of effort. Diving on the floor as a big, I mean, you don't see that too
Right,
often.
right,
So,
no doubt.
um, consummate glue guy, I guess, as of right now, I would label him.
I don't know. To me, glue guy, and maybe I have glue guy wrong, but glue guy to me is that guy that don't really play, like can't really. That's just that energy guy, you know. Not very skilled, um, but that could just be how I've come to understand glue guy over the years.
Okay, I mean, I could see that guy that you're referring to labeled as a glue guy,
Hmm.
but I've always took a glue guy as kind of keeping things together. So like that,
Yeah.
I like
Hmm.
so I you know what I mean. So
Yeah. Yeah.
and also a connector. So
Hmm.
so I mean, but yeah, I'll label him a glue guy. You know, you could label somebody else.
Well, I just wanted to point out that um, he's a skilled guy.
Yes,
He's a
glue guy
skilled
on steroids.
right. He's a skilled guy. No doubt about it. To me, him and Mitch are equally as good in my opinion. They just bring different things. They're just different. But in terms of what they do, they do it well.
And it's crazy because you label him a skill guy. I agree he's a skill guy. You know what throws me off is that his effort and energy um eclipses his skills. And I think that's what makes him. I think that's why he has a bright future. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I don't think his skills are elite level. You know what I mean? But it's definitely well rounded and
But what
skilled in multiple areas.
I mean, other than Mitch, offensive rebounding, that's all that's elite on his end as well.
Oh yeah, I'm not comparing the two. I'm
Yeah,
talking I'm talking about him specifically as a player. You know what I mean? And I am a little concerned with Mitch so far. Um, I just think he has to. He's just got to have that game for me. Let I'll calm down once he has that game because I thought we would see it right out the jump. Maybe tonight's the night. Who's Do you know who the starting center is on Orlando?
yeah, I do. It is. I could tell you right now. The startings. Oh, Wendell Carter Jr.
Mm, yeah, and he's been balling,
Yep.
and he's versatile.
Hmm.
What I will say is we might get that game from Mitch though, just from in the paint.
But the thing with
He's
Mitch is, I'm not looking for that game. We've gotten
mm,
that game from Mitch here and there all the time. You know what I mean? What we need is that game every game.
agreed,
That's
agreed.
what we're looking for from Mitch. That game, every game. Otherwise, it's just the same old Mitch in terms of there's certain things you're gonna get at baseline, and then every so often he's gonna have a really, really, good game. I'm
I
really
mean,
looking for
but
Mitch to
but that's why I'm concerned because this is game 3 now. So I'm like, if we get this game tonight, I'll calm down a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So what
yeah,
that's what we gotta get the first one before we could get it consistent. So
yeah,
let's get that game tonight
yeah,
from them. Because again, I as much as I agree with my past take that I see Hartenstein potentially closing some games out. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be an easy decision. You know what I mean? I want I want Mitch to take that leap still. Um, that's my guy. Um, anybody else for you?
that's stood out. Not really. And I thought Rose played well in the second game of his limited minutes, 16 minutes. He played really, really well. Mm,
Rose had a comment too in the post. Uh, Basically he said this is the worst that we're gonna see of him. His past 2 games, that's the worst that we're gonna see from him this year. Um, I don't know if he was trying to be modest.
well, he
Um,
played well. He played.
exactly why I say that, or like, so I don't know if it was just him being like kind of being modest because the the journalist, whoever he was, who wrote the article, was asking him or kind of giving him props about his play so
Hmm.
far, and he was downplaying it, saying, this is the worst that you're gonna see from me, and reference that he doesn't play in the summer and he always has to kind of work his way into shape and same thing we've heard earlier in the year from him, but you know
Right,
this is a more recent article. This was just yesterday, so I don't know how to take that. Like, you're only gonna get better. I mean, good for us, great for us.
right, right, right.
But basically, he's like, we haven't seen nothing yet from him. As far as he's not. He's still
Yeah,
figuring out his timing. He said, and things of that nature. So, I mean, I hope he's right. I hope he's spot on, and he's only gonna get better. Like I don't think he's played bad, but I agree that he hasn't had his Derrick Rose moment yet either. He's kind of just been a part of the team, a good part of the team. You know
But
what I mean?
but how much are we expecting from him? Like that's what he gave us the last game. It's kind of what I'm expecting from him. You come in, you run the offense, keep the ball in your hands, run the offense. If you can score for us, fine. But I'm not really looking for Rose to be a scorer for us. I'm really looking for him to be a stabilizer for us. Come in that second unit, make sure that ball moves around, make sure it doesn't stick with IQ, make sure Obi's going to get his passes, obviously, but make sure Hartenstein and Cam, whoever's in there, just make sure the ball keeps moving like it is in that first unit. That's kind
What
of what I see from Rose. He's expecting more from
and
himself,
that's
and I get it.
and that's what I'm
Yeah, I
is
mean, I
is
get it.
is is that concerning? Sorry. Have a good night, bro. Is that concerning? If because I don't know what that means. He's saying all the right things. Because even in that, yes, he wants more or
Mhm,
expects more from himself, but
mhm.
he's also reiterated that he's not concerned with minutes. He's not concerned with role. He's only concerned with winning, and Tibbs makes those decisions as far as
Right.
time and when he plays and how often and that. So he's saying all the right things, and I mean, to me, it's only good is good either way. Because
Right.
if he can play better in the limited minutes, that's great too. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I'm not concerned with his play myself. It
Mm,
just struck me as odd that he said he feels like he hasn't played well.
right. I mean, did
Mm,
you see the second game? How much better could he have played in that second game? So when I heard the comment, because I did hear it, I thought he was referring to the first game.
mm.
But the second game, he played very well in that second game.
Hmm.
So I'm not quite sure what he's referring to.
But again, it only holds well for us, especially as we get later and later into the season, because that's when I'm ready for him to increase that role, you know, and kind of.
Not me.
I
Like
mean,
I just don't see Rose being that guy anymore, like he
mm,
was for us 2 years ago. I don't even know if we even need that. We got Brunson here now. I just
yeah,
think
but
we just need him when Brunson is out to just
I mean that's
what you
all
do.
I'm referring to,
Oh,
or
okay.
or or
Yeah.
or if he, because I still see a role for him down the stretch with Brunson. So you know what I mean. Again, we don't need it yet. We haven't needed it yet.
But do you think we
I
is there
think we
something you're
will.
baking?
I think we will.
See, that's what concerns me. Like to me, Rose 12, 14 minutes, I feel good. I feel like if we have to rely on Rose down the stretch, like if we're saying to ourselves
I,
right now, we're gonna
no,
really need him. Let's play him a little bit of minutes right now so that later on we can really rely on
no,
him.
I don't. I don't. I don't. I think you're taking it. You're taking it different than I'm meaning it.
Okay.
So when I say we're gonna, Brunson may miss a game. We're gonna need him. You know what I mean? Um, I don't know if IQ is as trustworthy all the time as a guy like Derrick Rose. We're gonna need him. Like that. That's what I'm. When I say need him, I don't mean it like the season depends on him
Mm-hmm.
like it did last year. Because last year we needed him. He
Mm-hmm.
wasn't healthy. You know what I mean? And I think if he was healthy, that changed the outcome of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's play in, whether it's just more wins, but still not in the play, whatever it is, it changes the win total if he was available. So when I say
Right.
need him,
Because we didn't have
I just mean need him, his availability. That's what I mean when I say need him. So that, you know what I mean. So I don't want it to be a time where Brunson's out and Rose is out. You know what I mean. I don't want it to be a time where IQ's in foul trouble and he's out. So when I
yeah,
say need him, I mean need his availability, need him in uniform,
right, right.
because
And,
I
and you
think
know what?
he
Part of
makes a big
that
difference.
he does. But let me ask you a question. is part of the his us needing him, part of him making a big difference is his experience, or what you said earlier, IQ, not his game, his decision making. Is that where, because so okay, I'll let you answer.
I think it's both. I think it's
Sure.
both. His experience is important, but that becomes even more important if
Mhm.
we're in the playoffs. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
if we're in
Yes,
down the
yes,
stretch
yes.
fighting for position. So again, we're gonna need him in that aspect. But also the difference that in IQ's play alongside Derrick Rose in comparison to not alongside Derrick Rose is huge as well. So
Night and day.
I mean, we need him in that aspect. I don't mind these short stints right now at all. I hope we don't need him to play more minutes now.
Right.
But I feel like as the season goes along, the scenarios that arise, fighting for play in, fighting for playoff positioning,
Hmm.
fighting in the playoffs, we gonna need him experience wise,
Right.
um, vocally wise, because that's another thing he highlighted that is a huge part of his presence right now is just being a vocal leader. So I don't think I think he's conflicted in a sense
Hmm.
where he wants to play, but I think the fact that he's here, he's with Tibbs, and Tibbs is the guy, he's gonna respect whatever decision Tibbs puts him in. So if it's 15 minutes, if it's 10 minutes, if it happens to be 20 minutes this particular game,
Hmm.
he's gonna be happy. He's gonna accept it because it's Tibbs. It may not be that easy for him, I think, if he was somewhere else under another coach or another regime.
Yeah, no doubt about it. But I mean, part of what you say, if we are a playoff team, and I believe we will be. Other We got Fournier, Brunson, Rose. Who else do we have that's kind of been there and experienced and knows what
Mm-hmm.
it's like to play in the playoffs? Now, those who were here 2 years ago know what it's like, but I mean, has some success, has actually performed well in the playoffs. So we shall see. So that's just to your point that we are going to need that experience when we get into the playoffs. And everybody wants Fournier gone. Fournier, even if it wasn't in the playoffs with Orlando, because of his international experience, he's not going to be somebody that's going to be rocked or spooked
Mm.
in the playoffs. So we're going to
Great
need
point.
that. We're going
Great
to
point.
need that experience.
Great point. Great
Yeah,
point.
we're going to need.
Um, any particular player this week you do have concern for, um, or has underwhelmed you in these first two games?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, I need like we said, let's see Mitch a few more games. Let's see, IQ a few more games. Let's see Cam a few more games. Listen, Cam changes everything for us. So I really want to see more of him. And to be honest, I want to see more of this team by the when we're back here next Monday, having played Milwaukee, who else? Milwaukee, Cleveland. Not is it Milwaukee? I think so. Milwaukee,
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland, um, Charlotte, who's 2-1 right now, and who hasn't looked bad
Ball,
um without Ball and without Miles
Bridges.
Bridges. They beat Atlanta. I watched that game. They look good, and you got to remember, what's his name is back. Their coach is back.
Mm-hmm.
Little Tibbs' brother is back over there. You know what I mean?
That
So if
they
anything, they're gonna
they
be prepared,
they look like us out there. They
right?
look like, you know what I mean.
They're gonna be
I ain't even gonna
prepared,
lie.
right? So I'm really interested in how we look at the end of this week. This is a big week for me to get a chance to get a better sense of this of this team. All right, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to step away for.
No, you good. I'm actually gonna well, I'm gonna give it a few minutes, see if anybody wanna jump in. Queen, appreciate you. But yeah, let me throw that link back up for you guys. If anybody wants to jump in the panel, please, boom, jump on in. And I do want to highlight a couple of comments. Who was it that said I was 100% from the free throw line at the Garden? I'm gonna keep it 100. I am 66% right now because I've made 2 out of 3. That was my third time. I missed my first one. I've made my next 2, so I believe that's 66%. Or if I do one more and I make it, I'll be at 75%, and I'll be satisfied with that. Who else? Who else we got out here? Appreciate you guys for joining as well. David L. He says, play McBride tonight. Tibbs as starters should hold their own and get us this. Um, does that mean McBride gets time because it's a blowout, or are you saying he needs time and he'll get time because we need him? Try by fire. We're not winning a championship anyways. Mm. I mean, the goal is always to win a championship, but you got to get as far as you can get. So if we're in the playoffs, you got to go with the guys that's going to win you games or give you the best opportunity to win you games. Not really. RJ should have that 25 points per game. I agree. I agree. To answer my own question that I asked Queen previously, RJ is probably the only guy that has underwhelmed me a little bit. And it's more because that catch and shoot shot hasn't been falling yet. I thought that was going to be a new wrinkle to his game. Granted, it's 2 games in. Typically, RJ has started his seasons slow and picked it up as the season progressed. I was hoping this year he changed that, but so far he has not. I expect Randall to have a big week. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I expect a big year from him, to be honest. Um, if you guys remember, I was the one that started that campaign after year 1 with Randall before the season started and said Knicks fans are gonna owe him an apology. And sure enough, he turned turned it around, and most improved, all NBA, all star. I don't know if he'll reach all those heights this year, but I expect a similar turnaround in year 4 that we saw in year 2. See who else we got in here. Sherwin, salute. A jump is like 1%, 1% of basketball. Yeah. Come on, man. Nobody want to jump in the panel? Give me your player of the week. Let me ask you guys this. Are you concerned that Grimes has yet to play a game? That's what I want to know. Who's out there? Who out there is concerned that Grimes has yet to play a game? Do you think it's just them being precautionary? Do you think this is something that we're gonna have to worry about um all season long? Hector Gatson says no, he's not concerned. My cat be in the window. She don't come from outside. She's not allowed outside. There's too many cats out there. She just be watching them. David L says Grimes is fine. We got here. Walter, the starting lineup and the second unit are getting better as chemistry within the team. I agree. And that's also part of my concern. Well, I'll say this. I'm less concerned with Grimes coming in and fitting in because I think he can fit seamlessly in with any unit, first unit, second unit, a mixture of the two. So I'm not concerned with that. I am concerned with the injury, and I mean we're talking about pretty much an entire offseason or an entire preseason coming into the season. He was only available for one game, and probably three practices, including the open practice that we attended. So yeah, I think I am concerned with the actual injury or injury history. See, Mac, I'm not concerned. Let the man rest. I think we have a luxury right now that he can rest, and we should take his time. Oh man, David. Oh, I'm sorry. Grimes back by Christmas. That's not concerning to you? 2 months? Uh, I mean, take as much time as you need. I agree, but let's hope it doesn't take until Christmas. Let's see. I don't agree with the second unit chemistry. IQ only passes to OV. Yeah, that's it. Unless Rose is on the floor. When Rose is on the floor, we see the best IQ, in my opinion. Barely available, Tony. If we're going back to Grimes, yeah, that's concerning. Oh wow. Sherman, you want Grimes to run the backup point guard. Mm, I don't know. I don't know if he's ready to do that right now. I'll say that. Can it be something that he transitions to over time? I think that's more likely, but not right now. David L says we got Cam, and that's the luxury I agree with. Almighty Finesse, what up? Let's see. Might as well trade Grimes. The guy is always injured. uh yeah. The word trade and Grimes always triggers me, considering, that was one of the first guys we heard that was untouchable in that Mitchell trade. But I'm letting that go because I'm getting triggered just thinking about it. I just want Grimes to be able to run West Coast Knicks. Yeah, run, shoot. I mean, yeah, get on the floor. Let's hope. Speedy recovery. What else we got? Sherman. No, Grimes will do a better job than IQ at running the point. I mean, he'll make less mistakes and he'll miss less open people. I agree with that. I'm not sold on Grimes ball handling to run the point guard position, even in the second unit. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he could stay healthy. Yeah, I agree, bro. Grimes was off limit in the Ivy trade too. Wow. All right, you guys are trying to trigger me. I ain't gonna fall for it. I ain't gonna spaz out. Um, so we got 6 o'clock. I'm gonna give it like 5 more minutes. I'm gonna throw the link one more time. Anybody want to give their player of the week? Jump on in the chat or jump on the panel, I should say. What else we got here? Tony, what is so good about Grimes besides his shooting and defense? I mean, that is it right now, his shooting and defense. But shooting and defense is enough for people to make it have a 10-year career. And I mean, there's a label 3 and D, and it's 3 and D for a reason. If it wasn't important skills, we wouldn't have the term 3 and D. So I think he is valuable, and he does have some playmaking, but just like C Max says, oh, he says he's sold on his playmaking. I am not sold on his playmaking ability personally. Um, I think he has it in his arsenal, but to do that consistently with the ball in his hands consistently, I'm not too sure. I would definitely go Mikal Bridges if we could pull that trade off. I'd do it in a heartbeat, and I'd include assets to do it. Quintessential 3 and D runs like Kerry Kittles for you old school fans. Grimes can create his own shot. Um, I think he can get his own shot up quickly. I don't know how much creating space. We've seen a little bit of it in preseason, but again, that was new. That was, I'm sorry, summer league. That was new. It was summer league, and even in all the good we've seen in it, the percentages were not good at all. I probably would do that. Oh, wait, and unprotect? No, that's too much. It's definitely gotta be protected. I seen Grimes in college for sure. Not much of him in high school. I do know that they say he was a point guard in high school. Honestly, if you guys remember early on, before even seeing Grimes on the floor rookie year, I was hoping that some of those point guard skills would translate. And honestly, I still do hope those point guard skills translate. All I'm saying is, from what I've seen from him, his best attributes are defense and shooting. But yeah, I want him to grow. I'm just not in a rush for him. I wouldn't put all that pressure on him immediately. Granted, I don't think IQ is a pure point guard, but his ball handling is far better, which enables him to run the point and have that, to me, have more potential at that position. That's fair enough. I'm sorry, wrong comment. There's the comment. What you have seen from Grimes in the NBA is what he's told to do. That's fair enough. And I agree. And I think in summer league, he was told to show more, and we've seen it. I agree, but just because you're told to play defense and shoot, I'm sure they're not telling him don't put the ball on the floor. I'm sure they're not telling him don't make the right play. I mean, Tibbs' philosophy is the game is going to dictate it. So if the game dictates facilitating, he should be able to do that. Um, because that's what the game tells him to do. I think Tibbs would rather you listen to the game than listen to him. Let me say that. Sharon, I am not going to debate you, but you're more than free to jump in the chat and voice your, I mean, jump in the panel and voice your opinion. I told Grimes to go and stand in the corner last season. A lot of people on the Knicks were told to, like, that's how you start when you get new to Nick Tibbs rotation. Your job is to go stand in the corner and hit the open shot. But if you get the ball and someone's closing out, what's your job then? Almighty Finesse, Sherwin, join the panel, bro. No, it's all good. I'm gonna I'll hit my hour mark anyway, so I think I'm gonna jump up out of here. Queen's Court is at 6:30, I believe. So I will see you guys over there. And look out for a quick short after the game. I'm gonna try to squeeze in a play of the game. I'm not gonna do play of the game. I'm gonna keep that going next week. Play of the week. But appreciate you guys joining me. Shout out to the chat. Yo, Black is time. See you guys over at the Queen's Court.